Welcome to China Paradigm, a show powered by Dashi Consulting, where we interview seasoned entrepreneurs and experienced managers in China about their business and experience in the country. I'm Matthieu David, the founder of Dashi Consulting and its podcast China Paradigm, and today I'm very happy to be with Liang Sun. You are the founder of a company called Generate, and you founded it 7 years ago in 2013. Generate is focusing on supporting businesses, especially B2B businesses, but I feel you do a bit more than this, more than B2B, especially focusing on B2B sales. So supporting B2B businesses in their sales in China. You are very close to Belgium. You have an office in Belgium, an office in Shanghai. You are very involved in the Belgium community. And as for now, you are up to 100, even actually over 100 independent sales and marketing associates. So as far as I understand, for people listening to us, your company Generate has a network of sales associates, what you call sales associates, which are salespeople in China, within 6 cities, as far as I understand. And those people have a duty to develop the businesses of the clients you have, and especially in B2B. So thank you very much for being with us. And the first question I ask is about the size of the business. And you can always correct me if you think there's an additional information to add, but what's the size of your business?
Sure. Thank you very much for inviting. It's my pleasure to share our experiences and expertise. So as you said, the core competencies of Generate is our network of independent salespeople. And Generate itself, we have a small team of 4 full-time in Shanghai and a handful of part-time staff. So in total, we have roughly 7 people and capabilities internally. And half of them managing the independent sales, and half of them are inside sales support for our customers or project management support for our customers.
I see. I like to understand better on how you work, and I really like your website, because when I went on your website, I saw this very organized way of working, and that's matching quite well with my way of thinking. Like you have sales and navigation, sales recruiting, sales outsourcing, and management. It looks like very thorough, very organized, very systematic. Could you tell us more about the service you provide to your clients?
Sure. When a company wants to export their products or technologies to China, whether they have experienced already, whether they have some projects already, we feel like they need help when it comes to sales, localizing the sales force. And therefore, our solution is we help you, starting with the sales navigation program. We help you select the market segments. For example, the other day, my clients told me that they have 3 market segments: material handling, theme park, and machineries. I said, let's start with material handling. Yeah? And then we would help them understand what's the market competitive landscape, what are the key players, what are the channels to market, and how do customers make their buying decisions, who are the decision makers, influencers. And then instead of going on with the deck search, we start mobilizing our independent sales force. They're either prejudiced networkers or experienced key account managers. We would bring the products to their portfolio, which are usually complementary products, for them to sell the different products to the same key accounts that they have been serving for the past years or past decades to monetize their network. Once there's a few deals going through, the customer would want to hire their own salespeople, but then they may not have their legal entity to do it, nor do they have their offices to do it. Then we help them with recruiting the right person and then putting them in our payroll and our offices for a couple of years until the customers wants to set up their own office and their legal entity, and then we would do the rollover to let them go on with it themselves.
Got it. I feel you are a very systematic person. I feel I look at your website and the way you express yourself. I feel you are systematic and organizing your services in very clear steps. How do you charge your clients? For instance, we're talking about sales navigation, sales recruiting, sales outsourcing. I believe you have a very clear way of charging them and a way of incentivize on success as well. What's your model? What's your business model?
Yeah, indeed, we have our pricing scheme, and we are structured because we believe even small companies should have a process and structure in place. At the meantime, we're flexible. And the small companies, medium companies, and enterprise customers, they may have different preferences how they want to pay for our services. So we work on hourly rates, we work on day rates, or we work on project fees plus commissions. So it's flexible.
What's the typical way, the way you like to work on? I believe the first step is sales navigation would be like a project. We look at the product, we investigate the market, we talk to our associate, what kind of channels could work, what kind of channels wouldn't work, or maybe your product is not ready for China, you need to work on a new product and come back to Chinese. So I believe that this is a project. This could be, I don't know, 100,000 RMB, 200,000 RMB, but I feel it's a project. Then you have the sales recruiting. Here I feel that it's more like a percentage maybe of the salary of people you recruit, like headhunters do, which is very typical way of headhunting. And then you have the sales outsourcing and management. And I believe, as far as I understand, that it will be a retainer plus performance fees. Would you mind sharing a bit more about if someone's listening to us and would like to project himself in working with you, what should he expect in terms of investment and at the same time incentive to you?
Sure. As you said, the sales navigation program is a product, and it has already indicated a certain level of commitment should the customer choose the product. And before that, usually the customers had experienced in navigating the sales themselves or through us. So often than not, we would start with a day or two's work. And they would give us a clear mandate. Liang, can you talk to 3 potential customers or 3 sales? Give us the feedback on our products. And could you investigate this competitor? What are their products? How do they sell? How do they charge? And then for us, it's quite easy. It's a few phone calls because we have the network to get to the information.
Sales navigation is a few days. It's not exceeding a week, right?
No. Sales navigation, as I said, it's a certain level of commitment. It's typically 3 months. But before the customer commit 3 months, we want them to have a feeling about how does it look like working with us. So if a mandate is a few hours, we would take it with an hourly rate. If the mandate is 2 days, we would take it and then deliver a 1-page report that takes us 2 days to work on.
I see. So sales navigation, you feel that within 3 months, it's enough. 3 months, it's a pretty sizable amount of time for a company when they want to make decisions. Yeah. It's not so typically it's not short neither. So 3 months is good for you to go through different aspects, to explore things with different associates. And so within those 3 months, are you dividing the different steps, or you spend time and explore whatever you can? How do you organize those 3 months?
Yeah, so the scope is select market segments, conducting the market competitive landscape research and mobilizing my sales force. So in practice, operationally, we would induct my full-time project manager for up to a week. Let him or her familiar with the products and the mandate. And then we would introduce up to 5 independent sales associates to the project manager and for her or for him to induct those sales associates. And then the sales associates would bring the product in front of their customers over a tea or a dinner after their own product selling. They would say, hey, customer, would you like to see something else that is cool? For their feedback. And if the prospect, the Chinese customer, wants to initiate business discussions, put the customer in the short list. So after 3 months, we would be given our European principles, the feedback from the sales associates, the feedback from the customers, the short list of the sales, the prospective partners or customers, and a cost indication on how you want to move forward. And usually the sales navigation program would end with a proposal for a 1-week commercial agenda arrangement in Shanghai, in or near Shanghai, for the European prospects to come over here to meet 10 to 15 potential partners or customers.
I see, because I'm on your website, and indeed, so you talk about the scope, then the deliverable, so it's a few pages of feedbacks and prospects and so on, and then you have the options. Options is more like activation options, being exhibitions, commercial agenda, or execution induction program. I believe the executive induction program will be more what you do next, which is actually to sell for them, sales recruiting and so on. Is it okay, right?
Yes, because sometimes the customer wants to participate in an exhibition. Yeah, sometimes they need us to educate, to induct them on the Chinese business culture. So we have add-on for them to choose.
I see. So that was a question I've often have for people who do exhibitions. And we have clients who go to exhibitions. We know companies which only organize exhibitions for them with a booth and so on. How useful is it to go to exhibitions? Because every time I go to exhibition, I see someone who wants to sell me something, and I want to sell something to him. It's like a no way. It's a one-way talk only. So everyone is here to sell, but no one is here to buy. So what's your feeling with exhibitions? Do you still feel it's useful? What do you feel? Or maybe I was not in the good ones.
Yeah, I'm very glad that you asked me the question. We don't believe in exhibitions to be put it in simple way. Although most of our clients still want to participate, and it's good for them because they can have a feeling about how the industry looks like in China, just by talking to the people during the exhibition. And if we were the European company and we want to go to China, we would not have a booth. It's unnecessary cost. We would simply walk around. We did a test with a customer. Where we said, could you give us the budget for the half of the budget for the booth and let us do something creative? So I asked my entire team, 4 people, and wearing the customer's T-shirt, and then have a cardboard. We bring a cardboard on our top. We have lollipops or mint or flour or whatever the promotional products in our pockets, just to catch random participants or visitors for a few minutes conversation. Have you heard of this product? What are you doing here? Would you be interested in our product? Could you give me some feedback? We're new here. We don't know what to do. Well, where do you think we should go? And often than not, it's so much more efficient. You have no idea how willing the visitors or participants are willing to share it, as long as they don't consider you as a competitor. So rather than sitting in our booth waiting for the people to come and sell us something, we mobilize our team to walk around actively looking for buyers.
Yeah, I feel so. To add up on it, that exhibitions could be good to understand your competitors. Could be good to have a sense of partners, maybe, or people who may have additional product to sell with you, as you said, with your sales associate, you make sure that they don't sell the same product. There's no conflict of interest, but they may sell a door because actually a door system or an entry system because they are in the building industry, and a new mall needs an entry system, but that's not their core business. So it's complementary. So here you may find complementary partners, but indeed trying to find clients within the exhibition. Exhibitors should not advise on, should not sell on it, right? They shouldn't talk about finding clients to exhibition. That doesn't exist, right?
Actually, more often than not, our customers leave the exhibition with a few solid prospects or even purchase orders.
Okay.
So it works. And whether the purchase orders is solid or not is another matter. And so still, they find the return on investment is fine. But what I want to say here is the follow-up after the exhibition is more important than the exhibition participation itself. Because when they are back in Europe, how are they going to follow up with the process, given the different languages and the different time zone and the different response time expectations? It's quite challenging. And that's why we provide sales outsourcing, so that our project manager can be their part-time or full-time representative in China, following up with the process.
Going back to your sales associates, I have the feeling that something you emphasize. You mentioned that on average they are 42 years old, so that means they have experience. They have at least certainly 15 years of working experience. Several questions on how do you recruit them, and how do you make sure they are good ones? And finally, how do you make sure there is a lot of conflict of interest? Because you may have one guy who may want to have a lot of things to sell, but actually within the different thing he's selling, he may have conflict of interest, selling the same product or competitors.
Yeah. Let me answer the question in this way. First of all, it's a private network. It's a network built upon trust. I would say everyone in our team, including me, work with less than 10 sales associates directly. And our sales associates may have their sales associates. So we know each other. It's not like we only had a few phone calls. We meet each other on a weekly basis. And working with sales associates is a cost-effective way, meaning more variable cost than fixed cost. And also, it's easier to get started with, and it's less commitment. Your full-time sales knows a lot more about your company than the part-time external sales force. Whether you want them to avoid conflict of interest or not, you can't control them, because they are out meeting customers. Yeah? And they're closer to the customers. So working with part-time external sales force, it's safer. Yeah? And to come back to your questions about conflict of interest and overlaps, it doesn't matter to us because, first of all, we signed the confidentiality and agreement. We don't sign, so we signed the non-compete and non-circumvent and confidentiality agreement with our principals. Yeah, and then we co-sign the confidentiality and the non-compete with the sales. Yeah, so that they can get on with it. Yeah? We gave them a questionnaire for them to pre-qualify the Chinese customers' interest. Once there is a qualified leads, we nominate the leads at our European principals side. Once the nomination is accepted, we bring the buyer directly in contact with the seller for them to initiate the business discussions. And our project manager may assist in the communications, and our sales associates who are closer to the customer over a dinner or a drink or karaoke, often than not, may influence the customer's buying decisions. That's how it works. So as a result, more qualified hot leads coming in, and also the deal closing rates gets higher, increases.
I see. Your clients are incentivizing you through the volume of sales you do, or through the number of leads you bring, or through the time you spend, because it could be a very long process in B2B. You may spend a lot of time to translate. It can be technical. It may be very costly for you. And if they pay only with a volume, you may actually, or they pay most of your earning comes from percentage of sales, you may have to wait for a few years before being profitable. So how do your clients reward you?
Yeah, so we are a consulting company, and we are not a sales agent working on commission. So we do have our overhead and expenses covered. In the meantime, we are result oriented, and we consider ourselves pricing quite aggressive. Yeah? We often describe ourselves as a street fighters, helping our customers finding shortcut on signing deals and getting projects. So it's competitive, yet we cover our overheads and expenses and make a small profit on those fees already.
So the second step is sales recruiting. When you say sales recruiting, is it that you recruit full-time sales for your clients, or is it the associate you activate?
Yes. So after the 3 months navigation program, often than not, there are prospects that are ready to buy or that are already buying. And then we would say, you need a full-time salespeople and to follow up, close the deal, and to serve your existing customers. We can help you find one, and we can put it in the office. You pay us, the principal would pay us a monthly fee, which includes the offices, the employment, and the sales support. And they can stop the project, the recruitment with 1 month's notice. And then we will take care of the hustle. So again, for them, it's less commitment, but faster setup and same results, if you know what I mean.
So you recruit for them and you hire the people for them with your structure, right?
In the accounting book, yes, they are on our payroll. The customer pay us a monthly fee to cover the employment and also the cost of our sales support and payroll services.
I see. But when they sell, that's the company in Europe or in Belgium which is going to invoice the client, because you cannot invoice for them with your company.
No. So what they do is they invoice the customer in China. They get the project fees. They share commission with us. Yeah, because we also charge commission, so that our fees, our fixed fees, upfront fees, is quite aggressive. Yeah? And we want to get rewarded by commission mainly. Yeah? And then we would share part of the commission to the sales. Yeah? Because the sales representative has a job. It's low risk for them. It's comfortable. But we take all the risks. So we have a higher sales commission than the full-time salespeople that we employ for our customers.
I see. So what's going on is that those clients you have don't have to create their own company in China. If they do sales, they would invoice directly from Europe, their end clients, and then they would give you some commissions or as reward of percentage of sales. You are consultants, so you're a consulting company, you're advising them on how to manage the deal, how to negotiate, and supporting them, but you are not invoicing for them. Am I correct?
No, unless the customer requires, because sometimes the Chinese customer would require RMB invoices. Then we help them. So typically, it's a service contract, IT services or project management services. Then we would assist, because we have legal entities in both Belgium and in China, so we can help on that.
I see. Then the tricky aspect of your business is that if you are successful, if you do well your job, you should lose your client, because your client should at some point start a company in China, have his own structure and so on. And that's actually what you say is after 12 months or a few, I don't know where I saw that on your website anymore, but after some time, the objective is that your client has a company in China, is successful, has his own company. So what's the next step after the recruitment of a sales advisor and sales in China by your structure? Yeah. What's next?
Yeah. So we consider ourselves successful if the client wants to leave us within 24 to 36 months, because that means that we have succeeded in helping our customer entering the China market have a solid footprint. We usually don't charge a rollover fee, which means after 24 months, our sales can become your sales. They are free to go. Yeah? And please refer other customers to our businesses. And this is the way we believe in. And a 2 years client is already better than a market research firm's 3 months clients. Yeah? And also, you will be surprised how often our customers come back to us for due diligence support or for other supports because they trust us.
Is it the reason why you started actually that's anticipating a little bit another question I had? Is it the reason why you have now a digital marketing with brand strategy, design, social media campaigns, trading? We saw a little bit about it, but it seems you expanded. And that I think I was not very clear on. Those words, digital marketing, brand strategy, design, social media and campaign, and you talk about Weibo, Wechat, are B2C. And
not exactly, because B2B marketing also needs Wechat.
Can you elaborate on it? I think that's a misconception on it with a lot of B2B businesses. We think that Wechat is B2C.
Okay. So, the reason we started digital marketing is exactly our clients asking for it, because we've succeeded in helping them sell, and they want to market because they have a budget to spend to create brand and market awareness. And we tell them honestly, apart from Wechat, we need to outsource the work to professional firms. And more often than not, we outsource to Chinese firms because we believe they're cost effective and also their foot is on the ground. They are local. Yeah? And then the customer needs our support on project management and language communications. Yeah, and they believe in our model. Yeah, we work on project management fees. And to answer your questions on the B2B marketing, yes, Wechat is a good B2B marketing tool. I give an example. We are helping one of the largest Belgian company in the industrial machinery sector on managing their China marketing. And the starting point is setting up a Wechat account for their salespeople. They have a factory in China. Yeah? For their salespeople in China to use as a tool. So when they are done with a meeting, they can say, this is our company brochure. There's a QR code. Please subscribe our Wechat account to see our project references and news and which exhibitions we're attending. And with the Wechat, it's so much easier to share news or project references or information to the prospects who can then share internally or externally to other people, because everything in China is on Wechat these days.
I see. So basically, even in B2B, when you're on exhibition, people will follow your account on Wechat. So that means it's also useful in B2B because you build a connection not only through a dinner and lunch, but also through Wechat, and people keep your contact and follow you, right?
Yeah.
Talking about salespeople, how do you recruit a good salesperson in China? What's a good salesperson in China? To give you a bit of what people think. A lot of people think a good salesperson is someone with guanxie, is someone with a lot of network. So basically, you would always favor people who is 50 years old, who has a lot of experience, more than someone who is, let's say, very inventive more than someone who is actually a good speaker. I found out that a lot of people tend to think in terms of salespeople and recruitment by their guanxi, their network, which is very often difficult to assess. People may say, I know this one, I know a lot of people, but how do you assess it? So basically, open question, how do you assess a good salesperson in China?
Yeah. Let me start by saying we believe sales is a service, it's an art, and most importantly, it's a process. And we divide the process into three aspects: the lead generation part, the sales follow-up part, which is usually technical, and the deal closing part, which is where the network comes into play, guanxi. And it depends on our principals' needs. If they need a sales engineer to follow up the existing leads that they have, or they need a lead generator, a door opener to get new leads, or they have leads and they have engineers, but they need a super networker and client relationship manager to close the leads, spending time with the customers to understand what they want. And so typically one person can be very good at one or up to two of the three parts in the process. And we think we can do the sales recruitment because over the last 7 years, we have done many cases. We only recruit salespeople because we as a company, me as an individual, are salespeople in our core. And we believe it takes a salesperson to understand what a good salesperson is.
I should have started with this question, but I really want to understand first your business. And I think people listening to us also want to go in depth in understanding what you do, how you serve your clients. But if we go back in time, 7 years ago, what made you start this business?
That's a very good question. I started business 7 years ago because I was lucky enough to have a mentor. And he told me one day, he said, Liang, never hire salespeople. Right? He came to China for the first time in 2013 to close down a factory and office because their salespeople are taking the company inside out. They see invoices going out and goods going out, but they never see the money. So they fired everyone. And then this general manager, my mentor, turned the payment terms from post-payment to 60 days post-payment to 100% prepayment. And because of that, they lost 80% of the customers and kept 20% of the customers. And then the company start to be profitable. Yeah. So he taught me, Liang, work with sales agents. Yeah. Let them get on with it. Give them commission. Don't tell them too much. And hence I started this model because we believe in partnerships. Yeah? We we respect people's privacy. We work in teams. We believe in incentives and transparency, and we share referrals.
How do you build this network of references and share? Because what you describe from outside looks like a perfect world. But in fact, when you have so many you have intermediaries, you have people you need to share with and so on, it's somewhat difficult to have a contract with anyone. It's somewhat difficult to make everyone happy and to make sure that everyone understands as well what you are doing and the split and the fair split. So how do you work with all this?
Yeah, so I started business when I was 26 years old, just fresh graduate from grad school in Belgium. Yeah? So the same mentor introduced his best salesperson to my network. And we're talking about the salesperson that was generating the best revenue. Whether the revenue comes through or not is another matter, but they're a great salesperson in their own way. Yeah, they make good money for themselves and they have customers. And then I spent enough time with them to help let them understand what products do I have. They were in the construction industry, yeah? Selling floors, selling roofs, waterproof membranes, selling walls, paintings. And then I said, would you like to sell the Belgian rooftop solar panels? Do you want to sell the warehousing racks? It's all to the manufacturing facilities, project directors or general managers. Same clients, and our salespeople were motivated because they are money driven and they want to be more helpful in front of the customers. In the same time, they are very careful about sharing their network. So I have to pre-qualify the credibility of my European principal so that I would be comfortable bring the mandate to them, because we care about our relationships. And our reputation. So this is how I started, and this is how I work.
What's the reaction of the leads you meet with when you may describe those kind of network? I believe some European companies or US companies may believe it's a bit too blurry not to go through networks, to go through guanxi, as we said. It may create a little bit of anxiety, right? And people may be a bit nervous about not understanding what's going on. And you talk about trust again, trust in not a contract. And American businesses and European businesses, they want a contract. They want something very clear, everything written, transparent. I mean, transparent by the end client and everyone to be. And here you have to protect also their own network, their own wealth, right? For the people who introduce you, the good salespeople. So how do you articulate this?
So you mean the culture difference? Once is contract driven, and in China is relationship driven, right?
It's kind of culture, but it's basically a business practice. The business practice is that people own network. They don't want really to share it because that's the wealth they have. It's the property. And to go further, I long saw that LinkedIn could not be as successful in China as in the West because people don't want to show who they are connected to. So I studied in Beidar, and I really have this feeling people wanted to tell that they are connected, but they don't want to tell with whom. They would not feel very clearly.
Yeah, that's. Let me give an example. And we were mobilizing a sales associates to sell the Belgian rooftop solar solutions, and we let one sales introducing us a prospect in a factory in Suzhou, and all of a sudden my sales associates disconnected and disappeared for 1 week. And after 1 week, he called me up. I said, "What happened? Are you okay?" He said, "Liang, sorry, I was busy with managing the relationship, with the security guards at the door, with the decision makers. We had a lot of fun, and they're ready to sign the contracts." And he gave me some invoices of the dinners. I said, "Oh, you guys had a lot of fun. Yeah, good. Let's sign the contracts then." So I'm result driven. Yeah? I don't ask questions too much. I trust my sales, but they do bring results.
Yeah, typically, fortunately you are here because European and American businesses, a lot of them, would not feel comfortable by this kind of absence of communication, having to spend so much money on entertainment when you have so many regulations in Europe on the amount you can spend on entertainment, for instance.
Yeah, that's also why we exist. Yeah, because we can be localized when it comes to our operation. And also we comply with the European and American Anti-Bribery or Anti-Corruption Act. So to give our European principles the protection and the comfort that they need.
What the expectation in terms of timeline to get some sales? What's your experience when you enter China in B2B? should your client expect to get some momentum after 3 months, 6 months, 1 year? I know it can depend on kind of business. It can vary from one industry to another, but could you give a sense of what expectation they could get?
Yeah, B2B, and it really depends on the sales circle. It can be as short as 3 months. It can be as long as 3 years. And the customer understands it. And the same Belgian company I mentioned that have 3 market segments: material handling, machinery, and theme parks. And for the material handling, for example, they want to sell to China Railways, and then they know it's up to 3 years. Yeah?
Currently,
it depends.
It depends, but I think what we can remember is that minimum 3 months. You are saying that it's not serious to expect results before 3 months. It's minimum 3 months to have an initiative, to get a bit of something, and it can go up to 3 years when it's a very large partnership you need with like China Railway, where it will take time for it, and they will understand.
Yeah, let me give another example. If the European company sells floors or furnitures, then if we manage to give them the right contacts to a distributor that wants to try a container, then the deals can go through very, very, very quickly. So it really depends.
We are in April to 2020, and everyone is talking about the same thing in all the media. Started first in China, and now it's Europe talking about it, impacted. It's a coronavirus. How did it impact your business and your clients?
Let's talk about our clients. If they are in the manufacturing sectors in Europe, they are busy with the business continuity planning. And overall, they are quite busy on conducting the business the best way they can. And therefore, so are we. We decided not to take new projects for the foreseeable future, to focus on supporting our existing clients to go through the crisis. And at the beginning of the year, we signed a few new projects for the sales navigation program. And after the virus outbreak, we gave them the customer the option to postpone the projects or even cancel the projects, because we told them simply we are not comfortable of conducting the market research, because whatever our finding is, it may not be valid in 6 months. And the people in China have other priorities, and thankfully all of them took their money back. So our burden is off. So to give you a question, it's going to be a very hard year for us, which is fine because we are financially strong. We believe in long term. We believe in the value we create, and the money will come eventually. But so far, we focus on existing projects, and we don't take new clients for the next, say, 3 to 6 months.
The client you were representing with your sales associate and your network, or those people you hire for them, what's the situation now? Do you feel we are back to business in China? I'm currently in Shanghai, and I can tell you, I see a lot of people in the street walking. I see all the shops opened. But I see a lot of shops also were closed. We didn't get back to business. It could be restaurants, could be coffee shops. I also see much fewer people in some mall and department stores. I was checking a little bit the Apple store in Xintiandi. It was pretty empty. Maybe it was too early. I went early to check. But I think it's not back exactly to the level we were before the crisis. What about you in B2B? Do you feel the business is back?
People in China are going to all places, which is a really good sign. And whether the business is back, I still think it's too soon to tell, because the impact on the businesses and the revenue loss, which is negative, but the government incentives and subsidies are positive. How it would impact the industry on the macro level and the individual businesses on the micro level, it's still too soon to tell. It takes a few months. So right now we feel like the business conversations are still going forward, but whether they would make a buying or selling decisions would still take some time to go back to normal.
I saw on your LinkedIn profile that you are lecturing, and in among the topics you are covering, there is Made in China 2025. And this topic seems very wide, a bit theoretical. So my question is, what practical do you get from this Made in China 2025? What practical deductions, conclusions do you get that you could bring to your clients and in your lecture?
Yes. So in a nutshell, we believe that the Made in China would help the Chinese manufacturers to export more and more high value added products to the world. Those products are created in China and they're made in China. And this is also a business that we are starting to get involved in. We ourselves buy and sell high valuable products from China to Belgium. And we also help our clients finding not sourcing partner, not manufacturers, but we call supply chain partners from China. And because of the incentives, it's a trend that we believe, and we are spending more internal resources on supporting the Belgian, the European companies buy high value products from China.
So the next step for your business would be actually to do what you did for foreign business in China, to do for Chinese companies in the West.
We decided not to think that way. We decided to keep our clientele as the Europeans, yeah. And the Chinese companies that we introduced to the European companies are our stakeholders. But now some of them are becoming our suppliers because the relationship is there, the trust is there. Yeah? We told them that there is a market opportunities in China, and our European clients may become our clients again, but not for exporting to China, but for buying from China. So see, it's all about relationship and trust, and product, and the money flow and good flow are just from an operational level. The network is built upon trust.
Very interesting. It's time for the last questions, and you received them before the interview. Typical question we ask at the end of the interview: what books inspired you most during your entrepreneur journey?
Yeah, I would say it's the Robert's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. You probably have heard of the book. I only worked for a Belgian company 6 months in my life, and I will never work for a company again. And part of the reason is the book. Yeah? I believe that myself capabilities in managing my money more than the government, and I equipped myself with good lawyers, accountants, and bankers. So this book made me start and made me continue and made me keep my head up at the bad times. Yeah? Because I will never work for someone again, and I may fail, but I will never go back to a company. And I believe eventually I will succeed because I only need to succeed once.
May I ask a personal question? Because I understand the desire of working on your own and as independent, but it's sometimes made at a price. The price being that you postpone some decisions like getting married, like having kids. Are you married? Do you have kids? Because I believe when you're an entrepreneur, that's something you think like 10 years after others.
I totally agree with you. A lot of people say that they want to keep a work-life balance. I don't believe it. Or a work-family balance. I also don't believe. I believe that either you go full commit on your business or career development, or you commit more on your family goals. And I don't have kids, and but when I do, I want to sell my business and to be a freelancer so that I can afford to be a good father, which is the most important job of all time. But right now, my business is the most important job.
Yeah. So the good side is that you are independent and you make your decision and reach that conclusions you have in mind. Downside is that indeed you have to postpone some decision in your life that some people don't realize when they start a business just after studying, that it will postpone a lot of things. What do you read to stay up to date about China? What are your favorite newspapers, magazines, even Chinese ones? Are you reading Caixin? Are you reading Zhenmin Baozhi? Are you reading South China Morning Post?
All of them. I would say I only read the titles nowadays. And I do read Economist and CNN, BBC, and then I read the titles in the Chinese media channels so I can make my own judgment on which news are true or false in my opinion. But most of the time I keep being informed by talking to my network and the successful people in the industry.
What kind of sources would you trust more in what kind of newspapers would you trust more in China to get very accurate numbers, good information? I tend to like Caixin. What about you?
I would say I remain skeptical on all news channels. And every media outlets have their own agenda, and they are trying to be as objective as possible. Yeah, so all the numbers and the data and opinions are I use them as a reference. And combining those resources and my network and my own judgment, then I can make my business decisions.
What book would you recommend on China? A book that you recommend to foreigners to understand better China? Or a book that you like because you understand better your own country as well?
Yeah. Well, I think if you ask foreign entrepreneurs living in China, they can answer the question so much better, because I believe there are quite a few good books in English written by foreign entrepreneurs living in China, and so yeah, go read them. Yeah, what I do is I live in the country I do business with, and now that I am spending a decent amount of time in Belgium, then because that's what I believe the best way to understand how business is done in Belgium, and living in the country itself is like reading the books. I learn so much new things every day by talking to the people there.
What productivity tool do you like best? I don't think Wechat is that productive. We waste a lot of time on Wechat, I feel. What productivity tool do you like to use on your daily work?
Yeah. So my team uses quite a few tools that I introduced them. Monday.com and Pipedrive as a CRM tools. Trello as the project management tool. Yeah. I still use Trello every morning. Yeah. What I do is I put less than 3 things on the to-do list of the day. And the other 4 cards I have is urgent and important, which is what I do today. Yeah. Urgent, unimportant, I let my team get on with it. Important, not urgent, I schedule another day to do it. And another thing is unimportant and unurgent, then I remove them. Yeah. So the reason I make sure that there is less than 3 things is I want to be free before 10 a.m. I start my day very early. When I'm in Europe, I start my day at 5 p.m. When I'm in China, I start my day at 5 a.m. When I'm in China, I start my day at 7 a.m. after the workout. And I go to the 5 a.m. workout in Shanghai. I don't know if you have heard it. Quite cool. Yeah. And then I'm full of energy. So the purpose is to empty my to-do list and forget about all the tools before 10 a.m. And from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., I do the things that my mind tells me to do. And usually I'm very productive. I call the customers or suppliers I need to talk to. I call the team I need to call to. I call my government official contacts for a tea. And it's productive. It's the way I find productive.
It's very interesting, and I'm happy we made through the non-important, non-urgent for the podcast. So I'm glad you consider as important to schedule the call. I'm very curious about the tools you are using, Monday.com, Pipedrive, and what else you said? Oh, Trello. First thing I'm surprised of, they are all Western tools. Second thing I'm curious about, how do you learn about them? I knew Monday.com because they're everywhere on YouTube. I know about Pipedrive. I know about Pipedrive because I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I think they were sponsoring one of the podcasts I'm listening to. I think it's Mixergy. And I know about Trello because, I will use it at some point. And my third question, I'm sorry, I have another question on this because I feel that you are a very organized mind, so I'm sure you have a process. So the third question is, how do you choose one tool over another one? Pipedrive is in competition with Salesforce, with Zoho, with so many other CRM and so on. I understand it's more B2B here, but so how do you choose? So first question, why only Western tools? Second question, how do you find them? And third one, how do you select them?
Yeah, so Western tools is because we have both European and China team. Yeah, the China team are English speaking. The European team may not be Chinese speaking. So we chose Western tools, and all the tools that I mentioned, including Google Doc, Dropbox, there are Chinese alternatives equally as good or if not better. And we don't spend too much time on making choices which one we choose. And because we believe how we use them is more important than choosing the tool itself. So now we have been using Pipedrive for a couple of years. We know there are better ones and cheaper ones, but we don't change because we are used to it, and it's good enough.
Interesting. I always have a hard time to choose a software because I'm thinking that, wow, I will go with it for years. If it's not a good one, if they go bankrupt, I don't know what. If they don't raise money to go on, I have to start again. So that's why I always look at the exit strategy to be able to extract all the data easily. I'd like to have your opinion on an unexpected success and an unexpected failure you witnessed in China. The reason why I'm asking this question is because Peter Drucker, the thinker and consultant of strategy, business strategy, I don't know if you know him, but he wrote a lot of books on business strategy. He was saying that we can assess innovation when we look at an unexpected success happening or an unexpected failure happening, and this unexpected success or failure give a sense, a direction on what's changing in society or in business. What would you say over the past 3 or 5 years as an unexpected success you witnessed or failure in China, which could give us an idea of the changes which are happening here in the country?
Yeah, I know the book that you mentioned. I know the person. I've heard of him, and he's from the innovation perspective, from the entrepreneurship perspective. I consider myself more a businessman than an entrepreneur. Right? So the way I see it, the unexpected failures and success, it's more than the right time and the right place, or the wrong time at the wrong place. So I believe luck plays a large role in a business success or failure. If you ask me the recent success, I would say the medical suppliers companies or masks manufacturers. They don't need to do anything. They just need to be at the right time, at the right place. They are going to be successful for a year or two, at least. Yeah, and the failure is the same. I mean, so many good companies are not going to go through with this because it's not a good time for us, for them. Yeah, but the good ones will go back up after the crisis is over, because we believe the best time to start a business is right after the crisis.
Actually, that's interesting. Basically, you don't believe what Peter Drucker is saying, because what you are saying is that an unexpected failure, unexpected success is based on timing, is based on luck, and not necessarily showing a change in society or business. That's an interesting way of saying things, because that's in some way emphasizing on timing, and we know how much timing is important in success, and it's random. Facebook succeeded, but MySpace failed. A few years of difference. And we can see many examples like them. Thanks, Liang, for your time. It was very, very instructive. I really enjoyed talking to you. I really enjoyed when in the podcast, I see that there is a process in mind with the person I'm talking to. They have thought about what they did. They chose tools. They know about what they do, and they have a process. And clearly, you are this person. So thank you very much for spending time with us, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much, Matthieu.
Thank you everyone for listening. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.